Now it pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the entire kingdom. A satrap is like a governor or an official who manages one part of the kingdom. Now at this, the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Finally, these men said, "We will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel unless it has to do with something along the lines of the law of his God." So they conspired against Daniel. The administrators and the satraps went as a group to the king, and they said, "May King Darius live forever. The royal administrators, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed that the king should issue an edict and enforce the decree that anyone who prays to any god or human being during the next 30 days, except for you, your majesty, shall be thrown into the lion's den. Now, your majesty, issue the decree and put it in writing so that it cannot be altered in accordance with the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be repealed." So King Darius put the decree in writing. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. And then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and spoke to him about his royal decree. "Did you not publish a decree that during the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or human being except you, your majesty, would be thrown into the lion's den?" And the king answered, "The decree stands in accordance with the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be repealed." Then they said to the king, "Daniel, who is one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, your majesty, or to the decree you put in writing. He still prays 3 times a day." And when the king heard this, he was greatly distressed, and he was determined to rescue Daniel and made every effort until sundown to save him. But then the men went as a group to King Darius and said to him, "Remember, your majesty, that according to the law of the Medes and Persians, no decree or edict that the king issues can be changed." So the king gave the order.
Dad, that king and that king do not look the same because they have a darker red.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, that's what the lion den looks like.
They brought Daniel and they threw Daniel into the lion's den. And the king called down to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." And a stone was brought over the entrance to the lion's den. And the king sealed it with his own signet ring and the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation may not be changed. And then the king returned to his palace, and he spent the night eating and without any entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. And And at the first light of dawn the next day, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. And when he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" And Daniel called back to him, may the king live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty. And the king was overjoyed. He gave orders to have Daniel lifted out of the lion's den. And when they lifted Daniel from the den, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. And at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were thrown into the lion's den. And before they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian.